So during your second term, there's this whirlwind 24-hour period, June 25th through June 26, 2015. What do you remember from that time?
When I go back to that day 10 years ago, I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
Walk us through that moment and any lessons we can learn for today.
This is toward the tail end of my presidency. Across the board, we're seeing progress, but you still have these clouds hanging over us. And one of the big clouds was the fact that the Supreme Court had taken a case that, to my mind, it never should have taken.
The Affordable Care Act was saved from a devastating blow today.
It removed the cloud and it made clear that Obamacare was here to stay. The other big event that happens is the Supreme Court rules that same-sex marriage is protected by the Constitution. Now, that happened because of a whole series of individual acts of courage by individual citizens. What seems like this thunderbolt coming from the Supreme Court is actually this accumulation, this culmination of all these individual citizens doing what they think is right. But this is happening against the backdrop of racial tensions. At that point, Ferguson had already happened. We had seen Eric Gardner and what had happened to him. There had been protests around those issues. You then see this disturbed young man who's steeped in racist ideology committing this horrific act in a black church.
Shooting in Charleston, South Carolina. 9 people killed when a gunman opened fire at a Bible study.
I'm curious how you're thinking about this eulogy specifically in the moment and all the tensions that you just brought out.
I didn't even want to talk. I was so mad. Part of the reason I think I ended up having anything to say at that moment was when I heard some of the victims' families forgive the shooter.
I would never talk to her ever again. I would never be able to hold her again. But I forgive you.
And they were walking the walk, not just talking the talk when they forgave him. And I thought, all right, let's see if maybe this is a way America can hear me at this moment.
This whole week I've been reflecting on this idea of grace. As a nation, out of this terrible tragedy, God has visited grace upon us. For he has allowed us to see where we've been blind.
When I go back to that day 10 years ago, what I think binds it together.
He's given us the chance where we've been lost to find our best selves.
All these different strands.
We may not have earned it, this grace.
Case upholding healthcare, a case declaring same-sex marriage part of our constitutional protections.
He's once more given us grace.
A day of mourning and sadness, but also celebration of who we could be.
For too long, we've been blind to the way past injustices continue to shape the present.
And our ability to overcome the worst impulses in ourselves.
Amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet.
I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that. It was just a bunch of people figuring out how I can make something better. And if I can, that means other people can, so let me try to find some other folks who want to do this with me. At its best, this is how democracy works. And sometimes it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and rightfully it can be frustrating for us when we see that, and we can get mad about it. But when it works, it's magic.